What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we are going to be going over some tips and tricks for y'all, over 20 of them that'll help you guys inside of Palworld grind out those materials, little movement tips, what stats to focus on, everything like that. So we got a lot to cover here. Hopefully this will help you go from that beginner novice all the way up to the pro at level 50, catching every single pal that you can. So we're gonna get right into it. So for our first tip and trick, once you get started, you can choose whichever of the 8 locations you want to spawn in. I would suggest the Plateau of Beginnings. Make sure you just get yourself some wood, some stone, and just typical starting off. The next thing I would do is to be able to craft some of those pal balls right in the beginning and start catching some pals as soon as you feel comfortable inside of the game, because catching 10 pals of a certain species is one of the best ways to level up inside of the game, both for you and your pals. So it is a very good early thing to do to level up quickly so we can unlock more of those stats as well as technologies. So speaking of those stats, we have all of these over here in health, stamina, attack, defense, work speed, and weight. For me, the 3 that I would focus on would be weight. Getting it up to 1,000 seems like the perfect weight that you carry around when you're out exploring, etc. The second one I would go with would be stamina. 250 and up is definitely enough. You seem to be very slow at the beginning because it decreases so fast, so that 250 feels just perfect for me. And then I went with health for the rest of mine because our pals with our weapon buffs that we have do most of our attack. Our defense isn't really hurt that much because when you're dodging around you don't get hit too often. Plus with our character enhancements, with all of our gear plus the shield, it has a lot of defense. So putting your stats into the wrong things, especially work speed, don't throw it into there, because your pals, especially like those Anubises that have the 4 on the handiwork, absolutely crush anything that you can do even when you max this out. So definitely focus on health, stamina, as well as your weight. Now, when we talk about technology points and ancient technology points are coming from leveling up as well as through the secret chests that I will show you in a second here, as well at the end of dungeons. There are the chests that can drop little technical manuals. You can use those or consume them and they will give you these technical points. For ancient points down here that we use to buy in the purple category, like our egg incubator, you have to defeat those alpha pals that are on the map in the little bubbles, or those tower bosses as well. Any of your first boss defeats will give you those ancient technology points, so you don't really have to worry about saving them because you do get them very easily. Now, for the things to go to, I personally, inside of the technology place, think there is a couple essentials. Wood structure isn't really that important in my personal opinion because it gets burned down so fast when you're building big structures. Maybe just a little shack because you do have to have a roof over your head to sleep, but I wouldn't go with that too early on. The other thing I would definitely get is the ranch, very important for that early game, as well as the essentials like Statue of Power to level up, as well as an early game berry plantation to keep yourself fed. Now, on the other hand, there are a bunch of these different skills over here, which are our partner skills. Actually, we'll cover that in a little while. These aren't too necessary unless you're using the pals consistently, and there are obviously some better ones than others. The flying pals are easily one of my favorite to get, as well as our swimming or ground pals, so you can traverse through the map just a little bit faster, especially when you get into some of these higher levels. Fenlope is a very fast ground mount, but besides that, the only other things I would really focus on when using your technology points would be to get the spheres every time they come up, as well as the shields. very, very important for that survival. Next off is definitely the feed bags are also very important, because when you are actually in your menu right here, I can just throw these salads inside of there, and you can see on the right hand side of the screen, or I should say left, my character just ate a salad all by itself. So your pals will also do that as well, so it keeps you fed and not getting too hungry. When we move back to the technologies, other things that I really think are essential: make sure to keep your glider as well as your cold resistant your armor up as you keep upgrading, as well as the breeding farm. Besides that, I really wouldn't focus on too many things inside of here unless they are essential, and by essential I mean stuff like the pal beds, when you got to upgrade your assembly sphere, your production line, stuff like that. You don't even really need the handgun, in my opinion. You can get other things around the map with blueprints where you don't even have to unlock these to craft it, as long as you have the materials. So those secret chests, which we will talk about right here, are super important. So with those secret chests inside of either the dungeon or just around the map, you can see them here in this desert area. They are dropping a bunch of different things, from food to blueprints to gold to anything you can think of, ammo, stuff like that. So going around the map, they are everywhere. They reset every single day cycle inside of the game, so about every 40-ish minutes, half hour, they will reset their locations. So they are very easy to find. They go from lesser, where you don't have to use a key, all the way up to using a gold key, which has the chance to drop you some really good things out of those. So I suggest finding as many of those chests early game as you can, as well as going into those dungeons. It is very good for getting kind of the same thing. There are really good pals at the end that you can fight and catch. They are those little alpha pals inside of these dungeons, and once you defeat it, you can go up these stairs. There will be 2 chests before the exit, and they will drop really good things that you can sell for a lot of gold, as well as technical manuals, like I said, to use and turn into technical points, or things like those blueprints that are in the blue and purple category, because we don't just have gray weapons, we have gray, green, blue, purple, all the way up to legendary as well. So kind of going off of what I said with those technologies, as our next little tip there, that ranch that I mentioned, very good to have inside of your bases, because a lot of different pals can produce a bunch of different items for you, so you don't gotta go out and buy them or farm them. If you want wool, lamb ball, cremis, or melpaca, eggs comes from the chick pie, milk from Mazzarina, honey comes from B grade, red berries from Capriti. Also, you can get cotton candy from Wallipop, flame organs from Flambell. You can get high quality cloth, which is super nice, from that ice pal in the Sibilix. The mouse, either the ice one or the normal, can drop gold for you, as well as the Vixie gives you various things like pal spheres, arrows, or ammo. So it is a very good thing to have in your base, even late game, so you don't have to go out and farm pals or buy things as well. So another super early game thing, once you unlock in that technology, your glider, instead of just jumping and using it, which it's really slow, if you have a down slope like this, you can use your slide to get some momentum, and then use your glider, and you're able to go so much farther than you would be if you just pulled it out normally. Next off, one of the best tips that I found is if you have some incapacitated pals or hurt pals in general, instead of putting them in your pal box to heal and recover for that 10 minutes, if it's nighttime or close to nighttime and you sleep, it'll automatically revive those pals that are incapacitated, as well as refill your health and anything that is hurt. So a nice little thing right there, instead of having to wait that full 10 minutes. Now, inside of your base, there are a couple different things that you can do as well. The food inside of your freezers or inside your pal box, even inside of your inventory, if you just click the sort button, that'll allow you to reset the timer on the food, so it can have an infinite timer, if you will, if you keep sorting. So it is a very good way to keep that food fresh consistently. Another thing is to make sure that everything you build, especially like the breeding pens, the ranch, like that, are inside the base limits, because I have had problems, even though with the patch notes recently, they are fixing those and improving the abilities for pals to keep getting stuck in weird places, which is super nice, because at the beginning they were getting stuck in some funky places, but I still have noticed that, especially in the breeding pens, if it's sticking over that blue line at all, it seems like a pal can get stuck right in the back there, and then they won't make any eggs, and making eggs is a super important part of this game for some of those partner passive skills like that, and getting yourself some very good pals. Now, another thing that we can do inside of the base is you don't have to have mats on you when you are building or crafting, as long as they are in a box, in a storage inside of your base, that big old circle that's around that pal box. As long as those materials are within that and inside of some type of storage device, you can use them to build or craft, so it keeps your weight down and allows you to do a lot more on your base without having to run from box to box to the production line back to the weapon assembly. It saves you a lot of time. Another thing you can do, this is more for the end game in my opinion, once your pal box starts to get full of those pals and you hit your limit of the boxes, you can craft those viewing cages and put about 40 pals inside them, and it'll open up all of that space inside of your main pal box, so you can keep catching / breeding more pals and continue that grind for like when you upgrade your pals, which is also a very good way to get some OP pals, which there are two different ways. Those two different ways that we can upgrade pals is over here with either the pal condenser or the statue of power. The pal condenser uses other pals of the same breed to put into your pal, which will level it up, which another perfect thing about this is that partner and passive skills. Like I was saying, your partner skill will go up a level, as well as all of those work suit abilities. So like my Orzerk went up to level 5 with each of its partner skill, as well as its electricity producing. So it is a very OP pal, helps a lot with that attack, defense, work speed, and health. So leveling up with the pal condenser is super essential from 0 all the way up to 4 stars. To do that, you do need 116 of those pals. Now on the flip side over here, you use pal souls at the statue of power, which can be found through any of those secret chests that I was showing you around the map. Also, just laying on the ground, defeating some pals can also drop them, but you can also use them to level up each of these categories. As you can see, again, nothing too crazy with these. To do all 4 of these bars, it takes 40 small souls and 24 medium and 24 large, so nothing too crazy. So another good way to level up, in my personal opinion, is to defeat those alpha pals as well as the tower pals. Like I said before, for that technology and ancient points, which those is what that gives you when you level up, grab those, defeat those bosses, and you will be able to grab a bunch of XP, which will help you level up super fast, as well as your pals to get all that technology, as well as that upgraded ancient technologies like the grapple gun. Very good. Now, something early game as well as late game that will help you is certain pals that have really good traits that'll help you with like carrying items, giving you more damage to your weapons, turning it into ground damage when you're shooting someone. So that is something to keep in mind. Captivio right here is one of those that give you that nice little bit of extra carrying capacity, as well as Wampos for that end game. It helps a lot, and they raise your carrying capacity quite a bit when you put them into your party. So little things like that are super essential to have on your pals. That is actually where our passive skills come from. So there are a lot of different ones that you can see. Some of them give you those buffs, like I said, to your weapon. Some of them give buffs to other teammates, making like fire damage more impactful, or making ice pals, certain type of pals that they are powerful against, drop extra of their items, so you can really farm pal fluids, stuff like that. With like my Orzerk, drops double on water pals, so you can really get a lot of pal fluids with them, making it a very good thing to make sure that your partner skills are what you want. Riding your pals around with like the bird is part of that partner skill as well, so definitely check those out. They are different than our passive skills, which are also super important. Passive skills will help you in different ways, kind of like the partner skills, but they can be bred or found on any of the pals. So like we have on my fast flyer here on my bird, we have the Veil of Darkness, which gives dark attacks a little bit better. Not an attack bird, so it doesn't really matter, but we have Workaholic, which it's sand, drops 15% slower, which is super nice, as well as we have Runner and Swift, which these stack together, so that's a 50% movement increase on this. But there is other ones, just like we have on Orzurk right here. This is an attack monster with Lord of Lightning giving 20% to our lightning attacks, aggressive giving 10% damage, with ferocious as well as Musclehead. So we have about a 70-80% increase to our lightning attacks, with all of these making this thing absolutely juice the damage on those water pals. So that is kind of the difference. Make sure you know between partner skills is like helping you carry more, helping water pals to drop more items, and then your passive skills are the things that help you do more damage, work faster, take less damage, those sort of things as well. So moving on to our last little bit for these tips and tricks here. Selling pals is a great way to get a bunch of gold. There are a couple different merchants around the area that will sell the pals to you, as well as allow you to sell pals to them, which will make you a bunch of gold. As well as the other way is kind of just collecting those chests at the end of dungeons with some of those nice emerald gems, stuff like that, that sell for a high price. Now, speaking of selling pals for gold, we also can go around and actually catch a couple different merchants around the map. There are 3 that I caught. One is a seed and like pal oil kind of man that walks around and sells those type of things. You can get horns, leather, seeds like that can help with cooking. Get yourself those salads, because salads are also a tip and trick. They are very important for that endgame content, because they don't just give your hunger back like berries or some things do, they give a bunch of sanity back as well, so it helps keeps your pals working longer as well as fighting longer when you're using them in that aspect. Now, the other one that we're going to capture is a ammo man. He actually sells all of that from shotgun, hand cannon, as well as that auto rifle, so he is very important to have. He can sell other things as well, or I should say you can sell things to him like those diamonds, entrails, stuff like that sell for a high price. The final one that I caught was actually a black marketeer, because this black marketeer sells pals, and then also you can sell him the pals for the gold. It is a very good thing to have. You can put him in and out of your box and he'll change his inventory instantly for you, so that is a very good way to get pals, as well as sell your pals at your base so you don't have to keep going out to them. Now, these black marketeers as well is very nice. If you defeat them in the area that they are in, they do drop a bunch of gold and a bunch of XP, so that is another way that you can kind of farm both of those, but I don't suggest that until you are a high level, because they are level 40 with a Gatling gun and they will just continuously mow you down. Next off, we do have, if you catch alpha pals, there are a couple of them around that drop legendary gear, like the beacon drops the hand cannon, and this Suzaku right here drops the legendary shotgun. Now, to increase your chances of getting that blueprint, once you catch them, instead of defeating them, you can take them back to your base, and then you can use the cleaver to release them, if you will, and then that'll give you a second chance at the drops, and it'll drop you some of those ancient parts, as well as like for the Suzaku gave me those flame organs, so it is doubling your chance at those legendary gears, plus you're getting even more of those pal items. Now, last but certainly not least is this actual map for mapgenie.io. I'll put it down in this description, but it helps a lot with finding those merchants that I was talking about. Down here is where I caught my one merchant, plus it can show you everything on the map. When you actually show everything, it is way too much, obviously, but it is very good for finding those limp monk effigies as well. That'll help your capture rate level up at the Statue of Power, where we were using our pal souls as well. So you can go right here and find where each one of those are, so it makes it very easy to level up in that aspect of it. And it is a very useful map in my opinion for finding all of those. Finding where your alpha pals are as well is how I use it, so you can find out where everything is. Like I said, up here is where I was fighting that Suzaku, and it drops the legendary shotgun, that gold shotgun, so you can use this for a couple different things. Definitely my favorite is this interactive map. Love every single aspect of it. But those are all the tips and tricks that I have for you. They were counting up in the corner. I know this was a little bit longer video, but I really hope that this helped you guys kind of get a full grasp of the game. I know there's probably some things I missed or I could have explained better, but let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see with this content, what you liked about this video as well. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. I also make Destiny content, so hit that bell as well so you don't miss out on any of that when it comes out immediately. So again, I appreciate all you guys. Hopefully these tips and tricks really killed it, get you guys to becoming the Pal Masters. So thank you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.